Texas Christian University is a private, coeducational university located in Fort Worth, Texas, established in 1873 by Addison and Amp Randolph Clark as the Addron Male and Amp Female College. The campus is located on 272 acres about 3 miles from downtown Fort Worth. TCU is affiliated with, but not governed by, the Disciples of Christ. The university consists of 8 substituent colleges and schools and has a classical liberal arts curriculum. It is ranked in the top 100 national universities by the U.S. News & World Report and is categorized as a doctoral university. Higher research activity in the Carnegie classifications by the Indiana University Center for Post-Secondary Research. Its mascot is the horned frog, the state reptile of Texas. For most varsity sports, TCU competes in the Big 12 Conference of the NCAA's Division I. The university enrolls around 10,323, with 8,894 being undergraduates. As of February 2016, TCU's total endowment was $1.514 billion. History. Origins in Fort Worth, 1869 to 1873. Texas Christian University was founded by East Texas brothers Addison and Amp Randolph Clark, together with the support of the father Joseph A. Clark. The Clarks were scholar teachers associated with the Restoration Movement. These early leaders of the Restoration Movement were the spiritual ancestors of the modern disciples of Christ, as well as major proponents of education. Following the return from service in the Civil War, brothers Addison and Randolph established a children's preparatory school in Fort Worth. This school, known as the Male and Amp Female Seminary of Fort Worth, operated from 1869 to 1874. Both Clarks nourished a vision for an institution of higher education that would be Christian in character, but non-sectarian in spirit and intellectually open-minded. They purchased 5 blocks of land in downtown Fort Worth in 1869 for that purpose. But from 1867 to 1872, the character of Fort Worth changed substantially due to the commercial influence of the Chisholm Trail, the principal route for moving Texas cattle to the Kansas railheads. A huge influx of cattle, men, and money transformed the sleepy frontier village into a booming, brawling cowtown. The area around the property purchased by the Clarks for the college soon became the town's vice district, an unrelieved stretch of saloons, gambling halls, dance parlors, and bawdy houses catering to the rough tastes of the Chisholm Trail cowboys. Its rough and rowdy reputation had, by 1872, acquired the nickname of Hell's Half Acre. The Clarks feared that this negative environment undermined the fledgling university's mission. They began to look for an alternative site to establish the college, and they found it at Thorpe Spring, a small community and stagecoach stop 40 miles in Hood County to the southwest near the frontier of Comanche and Kiowa territory. Moved to Thorpe Spring, 1873 to 1895. In 1873, the Clark brothers moved south and founded Addron Male and Amp Female College. TCU recognizes 1873 as its founding year, as it continues to preserve the original college through the Addron College of Liberal Arts. Addron College was one of the first coeducational institutions of higher education west of the Mississippi River, and the very first in Texas. This was a progressive step at a time when only 15% of the national college enrollment was female and almost all were enrolled at women's colleges. At Thorpe Spring, the fledgling university expanded quickly. The inaugural enrollment in fall 1873 was 13 students, though this number rose to 123 by the end of the first term. Shortly thereafter, annual enrollment ranged from 200 to 400. At one time more than 100 counties of Texas were represented in the student body. The Clark brothers also recruited prestigious professors from all over the South to join them at Thorpe Spring. The standards of the school and the efficiency of its work came to be recognized throughout the United States, and many graduates were welcomed at universities throughout the country. In 1889, Adron College formed an official partnership with what would become the Christian Church. This relationship with the Church was a partnership of heritage and values, though the Church never enjoyed any administrative role at TCU. Later that year, the Clark brothers handed over all land, buildings, and assets and allowed the growing university to continue as a private institution. Their only compensation was a request that the descendants should have free tuition. In keeping with the transition, in 1889 the school was renamed Adron Christian University, though by this time it had quite outgrown itself. The need for a larger population and transportation base prompted the university to relocate to Waco from 1895 to 1910. The institution was renamed Texas Christian University in 1902, though almost immediately it was dubbed with the unofficial moniker by which it is most popularly known today, TCU. It was during this brief, 15-year sojourn in Waco that TCU in 1896 entered the ranks of intercollegiate football and adopted its school colors of purple and white, as well as its distinctive horned frog mascot. Return to Fort Worth, 1910 present. Although at the time Waco was seen as the new permanent home of TCU, in 1910 a fire of unknown origin destroyed the university's main administration building. A rebuilding project was planned, but before reconstruction could begin, a group of enterprising Fort Worth businessmen offered the university $200,000 in rebuilding money and a 50-acre campus as an inducement to return to Fort Worth. This move brought TCU home to the source of its institutional roots and completed its 40-year transition from a frontier college to an urban university. The TCU campus at its present location in Fort Worth in 1910-1911 consisted of 4 buildings: Clark Hall and Good Hall, the men's dormitories, Jarvis Hall, the women's dormitory, and a main administration building. 2 of these 4 original buildings still remain, Reed Hall and Jarvis Hall. Good Hall was demolished in 1958 and replaced by the new Clark Hall, originally a men's dormitory, but renovated in 2008 as a co-ed residence hall. The original Clark Hall was demolished in 1959 and replaced by Sadler Hall, the current main administration building. The university received its first charitable endowment in 1923, from a very unexpected source. Mary Kautz Burnett was the recent widow of legendary rancher, banker, and oilman Samuel Burke Burnett, but her marriage had not been pleasant. Married in 1892, Mary Kautz came to believe that her husband was trying to kill her and she sought a divorce. Instead, Burke Burnett had his wife committed to an asylum, where she spent more than 10 years trying to secure her freedom. With the help of her physician, she eventually succeeded and was released in 1922, only to find that her husband had recently died and left her nothing. She challenged the will and eventually secured half of her late husband's estate, but the long years had taken a toll on Mary and it was believed she would not live much longer. In her will, she left her entire estate, including a half interest in the gigantic 6,666 ranch, to TCU in 1923. Mary died in 1924, and about 100 female students from TCU attended her funeral in honor of her gift. She lived long enough to see construction begin on the TCU building that today bears her name, the Mary Kautz Burnett Library. The Mary Kautz Burnett Library was built on top of the school's first athletic field, Clark Field. This opened the door for another addition to the TCU campus. Since the first season of play in 1896, the TCU football team had gained increasing attention and success every year and joined the Southwest Conference in 1923. In 1928, the school received a generous gift from a local newspaper magnate and philanthropist Amon G. Carter, and in 1930 the school opened Amon G. Carter Stadium, where the TCU football team still plays. Campus. TCU's campus sits on 272 acres of developed campus which is located 3 miles from downtown Fort Worth. The TCU campus is roughly divided into 3 areas: a residential area, an academic area, and Worth Hills. The 2 main areas of campus, the residential and academic areas, are separated by University Drive, an oak-lined street which bisects the campus. Residence halls, the student union, and the campus commons are all located to the west of University Drive, while the library, chapel, and most academic buildings are located to the east of University Drive. All of TCU's surrounding streets are lined by live oaks. A third area of campus, known as Worth Hills, lies to the west across Stadium Drive and adjacent the football stadium. Worth Hills is home to all of the university's fraternity and sorority houses, though plans to move all Greek housing to a new location have been underway for several years. Roughly half of TCU undergraduate students live on campus. Housing is divided among 16 residence halls and on-campus apartment complexes. Students are required to live in an on-campus residence hall, most of which are co-ed, for at least their freshman and sophomore years, though many students choose to remain on campus for their entire time at TCU. The neoclassical Beaux-Arts architecture at TCU incorporates features consistent with much of the Art Deco influence architecture of older buildings throughout Fort Worth. Most of the buildings at TCU are constructed with a specially blended golden brick tabbed by brick suppliers as TCU bar. Nearly all of the buildings feature red tile roofs, while the oldest buildings on campus, including Jarvis Hall, Sadler Hall, and the Bailey Building, are supported by columns of various styles. A notable exception to this rule is Robert Carr Chapel, which was the first building on campus to be constructed of bricks other than TCU bar. The chapel is built of a distinctive salmon-colored brick, a deviation that caused alumni to protest when the building opened in 1953. TCU is home to the Star Point School, a laboratory school for students with differences in grades 1 to 6. Starpoint's goal is to develop advanced educational techniques for helping students with learning disabilities. Kind of Frogs School, an early intervention laboratory preschool for children with Down syndrome, is housed in the same building as Starpoint. TCU is the only university in the nation with 2 on-campus laboratory schools in special education. The laboratory schools, both programs of the College of Education, are located near Shirley Hall and Colby Hall. Since 2006, much of the campus has been under construction and many buildings have been either renovated or replaced. The old Student Center was demolished in 2008 and replaced with Shabbar Hall, which opened in 2010 and houses the bulk of Advent College's offices and classrooms. Construction is also currently underway to renovate the dance building, and a new academic building for Bright Divinity School is currently being erected behind the religion complex. A major renovation of the library and a new residence hall are also planned. The seemingly perpetual renovation process has led some students and faculty to refer to TCU as Texas Construction University. Academics. TCU is regionally accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. TCU is currently ranked by U.S. News & AMP World Report is No. 76 among national universities. TCU is classified by U.S. News & World Report as a Tier 1 university and a doctoral university. Higher research activity by the Carnegie Foundation. The Carnegie Foundation classifies TCU's undergraduate profile as more selective, its most selective admissions category. In 2011, TCU received more than 19,000 applications for about 1,500–1,800 admission slots. The university's 2011 acceptance rate was 37%. High school seniors who have been accepted must maintain solid academic performance senior year during the spring and not show signs of senioritis. In 2012, the admissions dean sent letters to 100 college-bound seniors asking them to explain poor performance senior year, and threatening to rescind offers of admission without satisfactory letters of explanation for the slump. Although a research institution, the university remains committed to its liberal arts roots. All undergraduate students are required to show competence in the humanities, fine arts, math, science, and the social sciences, with particular emphasis placed on developing writing, critical thinking, and communication skills. The university offers 117 undergraduate majors, 62 master's programs, and 25 doctoral programs. Among the university's most popular majors are business, which accounts for roughly 25% of TCU undergraduates, and journalism, strategic communications, which accounts for roughly 20% of TCU undergraduates. Nursing and education are also popular majors, and many students choose to major in more than one field. The Neely School of Business is among the nation's most respected business schools. The Neely School was recently ranked as the No. 28 best undergraduate business school in the country by Bloomberg Businessweek. It continues to expand following a $500,000 donation from alumni ABISA for the construction of the ABISA Field Sales Lab, which will be located within the future Neely Sales and Consumer Insight Center in the Spencer and Marlene Hayes Business Commons. TCU is also home to the top pre-medicine program in Texas, as well as among the best in the nation. As of 2005, TCU is also developing a growing reputation in the psychology of child development through its Institute of Child Development, which recently received a private grant of $6 million. Bright Divinity School, the direct descendant of the original male and female seminary, is now known as one of the top theology and ministerial preparation graduate schools in the nation. TCU has always been an educational partner to the U.S. military and serves host to Reserve Officer Training Corps programs for two different service branches: the U.S. Air Force ROTC's Detachment 845 Flying Frogs, and the U.S. Army ROTC's Horned Frog Battalion. Each year, approximately 3% of TCU's graduating seniors go on to serve as commissioned officers in the U.S. Armed Forces. During World War II, TCU was one of 131 colleges and universities nationally that took part in the V-12 Navy College Training Program, which offered students a path to a Navy commission. Student body. The student population at TCU in 2013-2014 was 9,725, with 8,456 undergraduates and 1,269 graduate students. Women make up about 57% of the student population, while men make up about 43%. Undergraduates matriculate from all 50 states, led by Texas at 54%. There are also several hundred TCU students that hail from around the world. The fields of nursing, education, and advertising public relations tend to be the majors that attract the most women, while business, political science, and a host of liberal arts majors are more balanced. A few areas of study at TCU, such as engineering and the sciences, are typically disproportionate with men, though even in those areas the percentage of female students tends to be higher than those of other comparable universities. TCU is home to students from a wide spectrum of beliefs and ethnicities. The student population is overwhelmingly non-Hispanic white, but the minority population has seen increased rates over the past few years, especially for Hispanic and Latin students. The school has also tried to encourage more minority students to enroll by hosting Black Senior Weekend, Hispanic Senior Experience, and offering full scholarships to a select number of exceptional minority high school students in North Texas with economically disadvantaged backgrounds. TCU also enrolls a high percentage of transfer students. Roughly 20% of TCU's annual incoming undergraduate class consists of transfer students. The school experienced a record number of applicants in 2011, when over 19,000 students applied. The applicant pool also set a record with 60% applicants out of staters. Only roughly 10% of these applicants were enrolled, with a 36% acceptance rate. While heightened national recognition due to TCU's victory in the Rose Bowl is one contributing factor, the school has experienced a steady growth for some time. In 2000, only 4,500 students applied. Institutions. In addition, TCU hosts the Bright Divinity School, a separate institution run by the Disciples of Christ that is housed on TCU's campus and whose students have full access and use of TCU facilities. In 2015, TCU and the University of North Texas Health Science Center announced the creation of an MD granting medical school jointly administered by the two institutions. The school will accept its first class of 60 students in 2018, with plans for 240 students when fully enrolled. Student life, on-campus organizations and events. TCU sponsors over 200 official student organizations including Amnesty International, Habitat for Humanity, Invisible Children and others. Students may also compete in intramural sports including basketball and shuffleboard, or join various other sport hobby groups, such as the TCU Quidditch League. Many students involve themselves in various campus ministries, such as Disciples on Campus, a Christian church student group. Other groups include Ignite, a non-denominational campus ministry, Catholic Community, a large and active group, TCU Wesley, a Methodist group, and CRU, a non-denominational evangelical student ministry. Most religious groups on campus are Christian-based, although TCU also sponsors Hillel, a Jewish student group, and the Muslim Student Association. Additionally, each year TCU Housing and Residential Life allows students to apply to live in the Interfaith Living Learning Community, in which the residents spend the year living alongside neighbors of various religious beliefs. At the beginning of each fall semester, TCU's student government holds a large concert on the campus commons. In 2008, TCU celebrated completion of the Brown-Lupton Union by hosting popular country artist Pat Green. In fall of 2009, it held a concert by One Republic following a football victory over Texas State. Lady Antebellum performed in 2010, and The Fray in 2011. Blake Shelton performed in 2012, Little Big Town in 2013, and Jason Derulo lit up the campus commons in 2014. These fall concerts are free to all students. Off-campus attractions. TCU has a small commercial strip located along University and Berry Streets, which feature a number of popular venues within walking distance of the campus. Fuzzy's Tacos, Perotti's Pizza and Dutch's Hamburgers are favorite student venues for lunch and dinner. Popular bars within walking distance include the Pub and the Aardvark, the latter of which hosts live music performances Thursday through Saturday. The nearby coffee shop, Stay Wired, is also popular among students for its rotating exhibits of local artists, its computer repair and technology services, and the open mic night it hosts on Thursdays. Stay Wired is also known for staying open 24/7 during finals week. Off-campus, TCU is located a mile and a half south of the Fort Worth Zoo and the Fort Worth Botanic Gardens. The Fort Worth Cultural District is also located just 2 miles down University Drive and holds the Southwest's largest museum and arts campus. This campus includes 6 museums, including 3 important art galleries: the Amon Carter Museum, the Kimball Art Museum, and the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth. Also located in this district are 3 performance theaters: the Scott, the Sanders, and Casa Mañana. Students can visit downtown Fort Worth and the famous Sundance Square, only 3 miles from campus, for entertainment. The historic Fort Worth stockyards are also within easy driving distance, and many students visit Billy Bobe's Honky Tonk on Thursday nights for country music and dancing. The sports-minded can take advantage of the Texas Motor Speedway offers NASCAR and Indy racing events, and major pro sports can be found a half-hour away in adjoining Arlington, including the NFL Dallas Cowboys and MLB Texas Rangers. Student media. The Schieffer School of Journalism circulates a number of student-run publications. Skiff X360, previously the Daily Skiff, is TCU's weekly newspaper founded in 2013 in association with TCU 360. The original daily was published since 1902. The weekly publication is published on Thursdays. Tcu360.com, founded in July 2011, is the online news platform that hosts original 360 content as well as content from all the other student media platforms. Image Magazine is TCU's student magazine, published once a semester and focuses on investigative, in-depth campus issues. The Horned Frog is the school yearbook. TCU broadcasts its own radio station, KTCU FM 88.7, The Choice. KTCU can be heard throughout much of Fort Worth, Dallas, and offers programming which includes music, talk, and live broadcasts, Horned Frog football, basketball, and baseball games. Other student-run media include 1147 is TCU's student-run, undergraduate journal of the arts. Originally started by the Bryson Literary Society in 2005, the journal now operates independently, run by an undergraduate staff and 1 faculty advisor. The journal is published biannually. The Skiffula is an independent satire newspaper begun by TCU students in 2010 which parodies the Daily Skiff. Since it began publishing online, the Skiffula has developed a popular following on the TCU campus, though contributors to the Skiffula remain mostly anonymous. Previously, the satirical paper on campus was The Sniff, that disappeared in the early 2000s. Greek life. Texas Christian University boasts a robust Greek life, including the following 11 interfraternity council fraternities and 13 national Pan-Hellenic Conference sororities. TCU is also home to the following fraternities, sororities: 1 Christian fraternity, Beta Upsilon Chi, and 1 Christian sorority, Eta Iota Sigma, 1 national co-ed service fraternity, Alpha Phi Omega. 7 members of the National Panhellenic Council, 6 members of the Multicultural Greek Council, dozens of professional and academic organizations, including Phi Beta Kappa and Delta Sigma Pi, music fraternities including Mu Phi Epsilon, Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia, Tau Beta Sigma, and Kappa Kappa Psi. Sustainability. TCU strives for a greener campus, launching the Think Purple, Live Green campaign. So far, the campaign has been moderately successful, with over 1,800 signatories to the TCU Live Green Pledge. Incentives have been offered to students that find innovative ways to live more sustainably on campus. The university is also converting some of its lighting to low-flow fixtures. A Purple Bike program was instituted to allow students to use purple bicycles free of charge as an alternative to motor vehicles. The newly constructed Shabbar Hall, which opened for classes in 2010, is a Gold U.S. Green Building Council's Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design certified facility. In 2010, TCU faculty and staff held a conference for service learning for sustainability and social justice with keynote speaker Robert Egger, founder of DC Central Kitchen. Also, sustainability and social justice are emphasized areas in the curriculum and programs offered by the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, located in Shabbar Hall.